everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is part 4 of our mini summer capsule wardrobe blog series, and it's the last one. I can't believe I'm on the last one already. The weeks seem to have just flown by, and I've really enjoyed bringing this little collection of clothes to you. And I also want to say thank you so much for all the lovely comments that you've left on the videos as well. It's really sweet, and I'm so pleased that so many of you have been inspired by the videos as well. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, then I have got it in this next pattern. So this last week features the closet case patterns ginger jeans, which is this one here. And when we were sort of me and the G&G girls were picking all the patterns and working out what we would do, one of the key things that I wanted to make sure that all of this collection of clothes would do is give you something that is really wearable, because I think that if you're going to invest time and usually a bit of money as well into quality supplies and fabrics, and you're going to actually use your free time to make something, I think it's really nice if you can then actually get to wear it all the time. And I wear jeans all the time, but until I had made these ones, I'd never actually made jeans before, so it's been an amazing addition to my wardrobe. I usually wear something that I've made every day anyway, but having the jeans has just been a really lovely touch, and it is just such a nice, satisfying make to do. So there are 2 versions that come with this pattern. There are a high-rise version with a skinny fit, and then there's the mid-rise version, which has got what's called a stovepipe fit in the leg. So they are still fitted at the thigh, but then below the knee they just sort of come down a bit straighter. But if you look on the Closet Case Patterns website, there is also a flared PDF version as well. So there are different options depending on what style that you prefer. So some of you might have seen that a while ago I put the high-rise version on the blog that I'd made. So I'll be showing you that again today, and then I've also made the low-rise version with the different leg style on it, just so that you can sort of see the difference between the two. So for my high-rise version, I used this lovely classic blue 11-ounce denim. It's got stretch in it, so the fabric that you use for this pattern does need to have stretch in it, otherwise it won't really fit properly. And then for the light blue version, I used our 9-ounce light blue denim, which is a bit lighter. It's nice for summer. It's obviously still got that stretch as well, but both work really nicely with the jeans. For those of you that feel a bit hesitant about making jeans, or you think, oh, it's going to be like a little bit too much for me, or I'm not sure if I can do it, I felt the same as well. I was really hesitant, and I was thinking like, oh, are these even going to come out okay? Like, it's going to take me ages to make them. But I have been so pleased with the results, and the sew along on the Closet Case Patterns blog is fantastic. I use that a lot. It's got loads of pictures. It just walks you through everything in loads of detail. There is also an ebook that you can get from that website as well, which has got loads and loads of different fitting tips on it. So whether you need to change the rise or whatever, there's loads and loads of really nice clear diagrams on that. And then you can also take an online course with Heather Lou from Closet Case Patterns as well, which I haven't tried or looked into, but if it's like the rest of her work, I'm sure it'll be amazing. So there is a lot of help and support out of there if you want to have a go at making these jeans. So I would encourage you to just go for it. So I did make a few videos while I was making my own jeans, and I've shown you how I transferred some markings on to do like a little bit of top stitching design on the pocket. But you can get templates again from the Closet Case Patterns website. I told you it's good on there. There's a lot of stuff. So they're templates that you can just print off. They're full size, and then you can transfer that on to your fabric. But I'll show you how I sort of just measured mine out and kind of did my own little design. I've also got a few top stitching tips as well, especially around the waistband, and then I'll also show you how to put on the rivets and the jeans buttons, which just give a really lovely finish to the jeans. People will be amazed when you show them that you made it, and it looks like it would be quite hard to put on rivets, but honestly it's so easy with the vario pliers. So I have got to the stage in my jeans where I'm now attaching on the waistband. The waistband piece is quite a bit longer because I've taken the jeans in and the waistband bit comes longer anyway, but that's fine. I'll be able to just trim that back afterwards. But what I'm going to have to do, which is normal, is that the zip is a bit too long. So when you sew the waistband on, you have to effectively go over the teeth, but because it's a metal toothed zipper, there's quite a high chance that your needle might break. So I'm going to show you what I do to try and get around that. So I'm now ready to start sewing, and I'm just at the edge of the fly. So what I'm going to do is, as I approach the teeth, I'm going to actually just use the hand wheel to turn the needle manually instead of just sort of pushing on through. And then what you can just check is that it's going to go through the teeth, and if you feel the needle hit one of the teeth, then you can just move the fabric around slightly. So I managed to get over that one okay. As you can see, I am about to approach the teeth on the other side of the zipper, so I just slowly go up to it with the machine, and then as I get closer, I'm just using the hand wheel, and that's just manually turning it round and lowering the needle, and I'm clear again. I'm through the teeth, so I've been quite lucky there, but it just helps you to get through those teeth without breaking your needle. So the same thing applies when you come to do the top stitching. You want to be really careful that the needle isn't going to break when you hit the teeth of the zip. So what I've done is put I've felt for where the teeth are of the zip, they're just there, so I've put a little pin in so I know roughly where it is. And then as I come to approach that area, so I'm just going really slow with the machine, I'm just going to do a few stitches with the hand wheel. And then it means if I'm going to hit one of the teeth of the zip, I feel the resistance as I'm turning the needle, and then I can just sort of shimmy things around a bit, but it looks like I'm clear, I've got through. So then once you're safely past the teeth, you can continue to sew around like so. So a really common situation to come across when you're sewing through denim, which is quite thick anyway, and you've got a lot of layers, is that an example is when I'm going around the waistband here and I'm right on the corner, you can see how the foot is just angled down. Now, if I just started to sew like that, the machine's going to find it really, really hard to feed the fabric through. So what you can do to give it a bit of a helping hand is just get a little bit of your offcuts here. So this was a bit of the extra waistband that I chopped off. And what I'm going to do is just tilt the foot with my fingers and slide that wedge of fabric underneath. So now the foot is sitting nice and flat. And then still, when you then come to sew, it's important to make sure you don't get stuck in the spot, that it's still moving along, but it should be much easier now that the foot is held nice and horizontal. So then once you get sort of over that hump, you're just on a normal stitch lining. So I'm now going to show you how you can do what's called a bar tack, and this is used to secure certain places of the jeans so it holds the belt loops on, and it also gets done at the fly as well to hold the fly shield in place. So it's how to do this little bit here. So my machine, which is it is a Brother NV 1300, it does actually have a bar tack function, which is, hopefully you can see this, it's stitch number 89, which is that little mark there. But I have tried using it and I just didn't really like how it worked. It was quite inconsistent in how the stitches came up. So what I've done instead is I have set the machine to a normal zigzag stitch, which is number 5 on this machine, and I've set the width to 1.5 and the stitch length to 0.5. So it's just going to do a really, really small tight zigzag. So I'm going to show you how that kind of works out on one of the other belt loops. The other thing that I've done, hopefully you can notice in the bobbin, that it's not the top stitching thread. So I've got thick top stitching thread in the top bit of the machine, but I've just got a similar colour in the bottom, and it's good to have something similar there rather than just the blue of your fabric, because if some of the thread does get pulled through to the top, it's just much less obvious. So because it is going through quite a lot of layers and it is quite thick, you still sort of have to be quite on it to make sure that the fabric is still moving. So I am applying quite a bit of pressure with this finger just to make sure the fabric keeps getting fed through the machine. I'm just going to do it between my previous top stitching lines on the belt loops. So there we go. Hopefully you can see that's a nice little bar tack to hold that on. So yeah, you just repeat that for all of them and then to sew the rest of the belt loops down as well. So what I'm going to do now is show you how I marked on the design for the top stitching on the back of my pockets. I am doing this after I've constructed the main part of the jeans, but I like doing it that way around because it just means I can get the placement right. So you can see in my jeans I've already sort of mainly put them together. So once I've done the top stitching, I'll pin them on and check the position before I actually stitch the pockets onto the back of the jeans. But how I marked this out was I just got reference points to sort of make sure it was all symmetrical and even, and then I used this pencil here, which is a Clover Chaco pen. What's it called? Chaco Pel, fancy. And I use this because I find that it rubs off a little bit better. I do also use this, you'll maybe seen me use this before, which is another Clover Chaco liner it's called, but I just find that sometimes it doesn't come off right away. But this comes off literally with just a kind of damp cloth. I think I just licked my finger and then sort of rubbed it off. So what I did to mark this out was I got 3 points at either side, and I started that 6 centimetres down. So you might just have to sort of judge the proportions by eye, depending on what size you're making your pockets. Maybe going to be a little bit bigger than this or smaller. These are a size 6, the jeans that I made, so depending on your size you might have a slightly different size pocket, so the 6 centimetre proportion may or may not work for you. So my top point is 6 centimetres down, and then I'm going to do another one at 7 and then one in between the two. So I've got 3 markers there. I'm going to do the same on this side as well. So I've got one at 6, one at 6.5 and one at 7, and then I want to get the centre point so that the little kind of peak comes down in the centre. So I just measure it all the way across the top of my pocket. So that is 17 centimetres, so half of that is going to be 8.5. So if I mark 8.5 there, so that's the centre point, and then I'm going to come straight down from that, and on this one from the top edge of the pocket is 4.5 centimetres down. So just come straight down, mark 4.5 centimetres. So that's my centre point, which was this one, and then I've got one just either side. I think they're, what's that? It's just under a centimetre away, but I might just do it by eye so the proportions look right. Okay, so I've now got all of my points to connect to. So my first line, I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to do a little sort of dotted line to be my stitch guide so that when I come to sew I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go to that first point, and then I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom point over here. Let me just get the angle of that a little bit better. So you could draw in with a ruler if you wanted. I'm obviously just kind of freehanding it here. So that's my first one. And then my second one is going to go, is sort of in reverse. So it's going to go from the bottom one here, like so, and it's going to go to this side one. And then it's going to go to the top point here, like that. So you can sort of start to see it emerge, and then my last line is going to go in between the two, but I don't think I'm going to actually mark that in, because I'll sew these two first, and then I'll kind of use them as a guide to make sure that I get this central one bang in the middle of it. But where it's going to go is just straight up in between the two to the very centre point, and then all the way back down. So obviously you can do various different designs, but having points that are measured to give you specific dimensions of it all will ensure that both pockets look the same.
So now I'm going to do the top stitching over my marking lines, and on my brother's sewing machine the sort of number 1 straight stitch means that the needle's orientated to the left hand side of the foot, but I just find it easier to line up if it's in the middle, so I'm just going to jump it over there so now you can see that the needle is in the middle of the foot, and I'm going to go and just stitch over my lines. So what I have done now is just pinned the pockets on and then gone and checked the placement. It is quite important to get someone else to check it for you, because if you put them on and look in the mirror and turn, you sort of it can make things look a little bit off, so it's best to try and like stand up straight and then get someone else to check it for you. So as you can now see, I have top stitched my pockets on, and before I did that you can just see this black line of stitching here, so I just put a long stitch on the sewing machine and I basted them on before I did the top stitching. I think it just makes it a bit easier because the pockets are then fixed into place and you're not having to worry about really concentrating on lining up the stitching as you're also making sure the pocket doesn't move. So I'll just have to unpick my black basting stitching that is here and then put the hardware on my little rivets and my jeans button as well. So now I'm going to put in my little rivets onto the jeans just to finish them off, and I'm going to show you the tools that I use to do that. I keep all of my little rivets and jeans buttons. These little pots are from IKEA. They're really useful just to keep everything separate because the packaging that they come in just doesn't really contain it, and there's so many little bits, so these things are great if you want to sort of keep them all together. So the rivets do come with a little hole cutter, which is this thing here, so you need a hammer to cut the hole in the fabric, and then that just protects the surface. But what I use it's actually a leather punch or a hole punch, and that's what I'm going to use to make the hole in the fabric just here. So I know that the sort of distance between here and where the hole is actually going to punch doesn't look huge, but you can fit a surprisingly amount of fabric actually in here. So even though I'm going to be putting the rivet on at the top corners of my pockets, it'll still easily reach in. So I'm going to do it right in the middle of that little square bit there. So if I just line it all up, I've got it in the smallest hole, so it's going to make the smallest hole that this one can make. Put it there and then give it a good squeeze. You hear it sort of click, and then that's it, got my little hole. So then I'm going to get my rivet. So the rivet's got the front bit and the back bit here, and then again with the rivets come the little tool set, which is this little thing here. So we've got a shaped one which is for the top of the rivet and a blank one for the bottom. So if you don't have these vario pliers, the rivets do come with this thing here, which again you need a hammer to use with it, so they would just fit into that little thing, and then same in the top, and then you'd bang it all together. But it's really easy to do with the rivets. So I'm going to put my tool set into the pliers, and then what I'm going to do is put the back of my rivet through that hole. You can see it just sticking out there. And then I'm actually going to get the pliers now to line it all up. Again, I know the distance in here looks really small, but you should be able, with some folding and squidging, be able to get it in. So I'm now putting the back of my rivet into that little black rubber bit, just sort of holds it steady like that. And then if I put the top of my rivet again into the other bit of tulle, and again the black rubber's holding it steady, so I can angle it now and it doesn't fall out. And then what you want to make sure is that as you bring the pliers together, that it's going to line up properly. So before you actually squidge it, just check that the little sort of stalk that sticks out from the bottom of the rivet is matching up with that top bit. So it's all lined up now, and then just give it a good squeeze. Squeeze near the bottom of the pliers because it gives you a longer lever and there's more force that goes through it. So you give it a good squeeze and you'll sort of feel it kind of give a little bit, and then just take it off. Sometimes the tulle sticks to it, which is fine. You can just sort of peel it off afterwards. And then the rivet is securely stuck on. And try and pick it off, it doesn't come. So it just gives that nice little finish on the front, and then that's what it looks like on the back. And it just helps to strengthen the pockets. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be putting stones in here or anything, but it's just a nice sort of decorative effect. So I'm also going to put it on here. I've put one in the coin pocket already. I'm going to put them on the corners of the pockets too. You can just have a look at jeans you maybe bought from the shop and see where they've got rivets. I'll do it on this side too, and on my other pocket. And then I'll just need to put the button on. So the last thing that I've got to do now is just put the button on at my fly, and the buttons come with their little own tool set as well, which are what these white bits are. So you've got a larger bit for the front of the button and a smaller bit for the back. That's what the back of the button looks like. Again, if you've not got the vario pliers, then it does come with that little tool that you would use with a hammer. So if you look at the back of the button and you look at the sort of width of the shank of it, it's quite wide. So what I would do is just put it through the sort of outside edge of the buttonhole, because as the jeans are on, they're going to get pulled apart like this. And when you sort of push it through, then you can kind of then line it up. I've got the fly actually closed, so I want it to sit like this. So if I get a little pin handy, and then I want to make sure that wherever that is, I'll maybe just try and feel it from the back actually. So there, where the pin is just now is where it's going to sort of fit into the button. So that's where I want the back of the button to go. That's where I'm going to sort of place it on. So if I leave that pin in there just now, take this off for a second. So you put the back of the button in the smaller part of the pliers like that. You can see it grips onto it, so you don't have to worry about that moving around now. And then what I'm going to do so I don't lose it is just make a little mark there where that pin is. Take the pin out now. So I would recommend probably not making a hole with the punch that I used before, just because there is going to be quite a lot of pressure on this button, and if you make a hole, it just maybe it's more likely to stretch out over time. But if you just use the spoke on the back of the button to almost try and push through the fabric, then I feel like it will just be much less likely to cause a sort of tear in the fabric or create a bigger hole over time. So what I'm going to do is just use my nails and try to just force the back of the button. You can see it starting to come through now. The back of the button's just coming through there. Then I put the front of the button into that other side of the tool set, make sure they're going to line up, and then just give it a good old squeeze. And then that is the button on, just as easy as that. So then I can fasten it up like so, and my jeans are done.
So again, like all of the other posts, we've made up packs that's got everything that you need. So the jeans one is really good because you get 2.5 meters of fabric in there, so that's enough fabric to do any version, any size. You also get all the hardware as well, so the jeans buttons and the rivets. You get top stitching thread, top stitching needles, jeans needles, normal thread, interfacing. I think the only thing you need is lining for the pockets, but it's really nice if you've got some scraps to use for that. I'm sure everybody out there's got a few scraps that could be some pocket lining. So I'll put a link to the blog, which has then got all the pattern and fabric and pack information in there. Again, they are limited stock, so if you want one, then please do grab it as soon as you can. And you can also get the vario pliers and the hole punch that I use to make the holes for the rivets as well on the website too. So as I said, I'll link to all of that in the blog below. But I wanted to just show you the different styles that I made now and what I've worn with different things. So here is my high-waisted ones, and they go really lovely with the cropped Cali shirt. I think the height of the jeans versus the croppedness of the shirt just go really well together. I think it's a really lovely pairing. I've worn that quite a few times. And then the jeans also look really nice. This is the scoop neck lark tee in the pink medal, and just a little bit more of a kind of casual look with some trainers. Looks really cute as well. And then here I've got on the low-rise version with the 3/4 length lark tee. So I think they pair together really nicely. I think the colours work really well. And then this is it with the V-neck lark as well. So you can really kind of mix and match it, and hopefully now that I've shown you all of the garments that are in this mini capsule wardrobe series, that you can really see how all of them kind of just pair really nicely together. So yeah, that brings me to the end of the series. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the videos, thanks for staying with me to the end. If you're watching this one for the first time, then please do go back and look at the other ones. But I really hope that you've found it all inspiring and it encourages you to give it a go. I'll be back again soon with more videos for you. But if you like this video, then just make sure that you hit subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you next time. Bye!